Joe.
I should have.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock, we are putting on the best sales meeting in the mortgage space. So think of this as your weekly sales meeting. I hope every branch manager out there is doing your own sales meetings. So just a reminder and a push. We've got a lot of resources in our community. I've got an article on LinkedIn. The Mortgage Coach blog is a great resource for sales managers. And I'm doing a challenge every week where, hey, sales managers, here's a challenge that you could put into your sales meeting. So we're going to do our best to do the best one. To help me facilitate this call, I've got my wingman, Todd Bookspan, on the call. What's up, Todd?
Hey, not much. Good morning. Sorry, I'm like in the witness protection program apparently this morning. I left my light up in the suitcase, which apparently I needed today.
Well, I can tell you right now, if you were in the witness protection program, I could find you within about 4 hours. I can tell that you're in New York, and I'll bet you that if I was a bad guy, I would use those pictures against you. So,
yep, that's 54th and Broadway out there.
That's what I was thinking. I was actually going to call that out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no doubt. But I wouldn't miss anytime I can hang out with Dan Keller and glean some of his wisdom is a great time to be here. And I'm just super excited for. Really the next 6 weeks, we got so much going on between all the great guests you're going to have here, Dave, and then Modern Mortgage Summit, Modern Real Estate Summit. We got a lot on our plates.
Yeah, no, we do, guys. We're closing in on the Modern Real Estate and Modern Mortgage Summit is on June 8th. It's going to be an action-packed day for every mortgage professional that wants to go to the next level. And for all the realtors that you want to bring, the second half of the day is going to be the Modern Real Estate Summit. So get signed up, modernmortgagesummit.com. We'll talk more about that a little later. We also have the one and only Deborah Bird, the CEO of Plug and Play SM. What's up, Deborah?
Apparently doing the gun show starting off this morning.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do that for our next thumbnail. Good morning, everybody. I'm excited. Anytime we have Dan Keller on sharing his wisdom of what's working for him, I mean, that's a show that you watch and rewatch. So if you guys haven't already subscribed and hit the bell on the YouTube channel for Mortgage Coach, hit that bell so that you always get notified when there's new recordings that get dropped. Because I get asked by a lot of you, will this be recorded? Yes, they're always recorded and they'll go into the YouTube channel. So don't forget.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe, guys, because you'll get the alert if you subscribe and you'll be part of the community and you will be representing Mortgage Coach. So Dan Keller, what is up, my brother?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, I know, we're excited to have you. So for most of you, Dan doesn't need an introduction, but the industry is still flooding with new loan officers, and we're adding people to this community all the time. So Dan, for anyone who hasn't heard one of our, countless interviews, tell us what market you're in, tell us what kind of production you're doing, and then let's get into how you're winning in these high interest rate markets.
Yeah. So I'm up here in Seattle, Washington. It's a crazy competitive market up here, much like every market across the US. I've been in the mortgage industry since 2008. And so I'm built for markets like this. I didn't know what I didn't know in 2008, but the cool thing now is I know what I need to know to win in this market. I just grinded it out in 08 through 2012. And what we're going to share with you today, if you are a loan officer that just got in the industry over the last 6 to 8 years, that seems like a long period of time, but you haven't experienced a market like we're probably heading in, like we are in right now and heading into. And so it's more important than ever that you know how to have confident conversations with your clients. And I didn't have that back in 2008 to 2010. I didn't have it personally, and I wasn't able to give it to my clients. And so I'm so excited to share this with you. I think this call is going to be super valuable. I was telling one of my clients that I was on the phone with on the way into the office this morning. He says, man, I see you everywhere. You're all over the internet. I get your emails, your videos. He was like, when do you do mortgages? And I said, I love that. I absolutely love that, because I do mortgages throughout the day. I do content creation after hours and sometimes throughout the day, but the content creation is where it's at. So I think right now I'm having some video. I'm using the new Renee's video setup and it's not working real well. So I may switch over my laptop in a second. But what I want you guys to get from me today is that it's up to us to create content right now. You can copy You can subscribe to, obviously, Mortgage Coach, Keeping Current Matters, copy what mortgage pros like me are doing. You can hire Deb. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share a slide deck that I personally built. I don't have a marketing department. I do all my marketing myself. I'm not going to give you my access to Canva, but what I will do is if you hire Deb to help you out with this stuff, I will give everything that Deb needs to empower you. Okay. Or you can take everything I have for free. It's on PDFs. You can screenshot them. You can black out my logo and you can repurpose it, or you can just keep my logo and stuff on there and give me credit where credit is due. That's always good when you spend a lot of time creating stuff. It's always cool to say, hey, my guy up in Seattle shared this. He's such a stud. I agree everything with him. But anyways, either way, you guys are going to be able to walk away with a lot of great content today.
All right, guys. So we got the first takeaway. The theme of this call is how to turn, the fact that rates have gone up 2%. We're not in a high interest rate market, but we're in a higher interest rate market. They have gone up historically fast. So within a 2-month period, we got a 2% increase in rates. So how to turn this market into a competitive advantage? And what are the strategies and ideas to do that? And you got idea number one, create content. And then Dan told you a few ways that you can fast track that. You can hire Deb and have her do it for you. You can leverage his content and do it for yourself. And we create a lot of content around this topic. So let's just go through it, Dan. So that's one big idea. What are some other things that you're doing to win in this market?
I'm working harder than I've ever worked. So I don't know. I mean, I leverage Mortgage Coach. I leverage HomeBot. I leverage Phone Burner. Yesterday, I made 47 phone calls in about an hour and a half to realtors. And I'm going to tell you today, I'm going to show, it's a part of my presentation today, how to take this content and get it out to real estate agents. One of the questions you had in your community, Dave, was, I'm curious, how do you get the seller to apply a seller buy down? Well, I'm going to show you how. It's the conversations that you're having with listing agents. It's the conversations you're having with your agent who's driving the bus on the offers, to then have that conversation. Hey, my lender has this unique strategy or this program. I think it's worth taking a look at. So stuff like that, working really hard. And the thing is here's the thing. I hate cold calls. There's a lot of things I really just dislike in business. I think cold calls are needed. They're relevant to get you in the door, but I really dislike making cold calls. So if I can create a video with a really nice thumbnail with great content around inflation, around recession, around rates going up, around seller buy downs, go to my YouTube channel and you can get a ton of inspiration for content. But if I can send that out to a group of realtors and then call them and say, hey, this is Dan. My name is Dan Keller. I'm over here at New American Funding. I want to make sure you got the email that I sent you this morning with a 3-minute video on how to help buyers win in times of inflation. No, I didn't get that email. Who are you again? Cool. Hey, I'm Dan. I know you probably haven't heard of me, but I have heard of you. I see your signs everywhere. Now it's a warmer conversation versus just cold. So I'll talk about that a little later on. But guys, I'm calling more real estate agents than I've ever called. Working harder on marketing stuff than I've ever worked on. And it's the time. Like when I said earlier, I'm built for this. I'm built for this. This is how I did it in 2008, 2012. I'm just going to repeat what I did with 10x more knowledge than I had.
Hey, what's that headline you just said? How to help homeowners what?
Win during times of inflation. Home buyers win during times of inflation.
Got it. That's a great headline, guys. So we got a great headline. So number one, create content. Number two, he's working harder than ever. He's calling more realtors than ever. And number three, he's using technology to scale and improve the service he delivers. He called out Mortgage Coach. He called out HomeBot. He called out Phone Burner. He mentioned YouTube. Any other tech you're using to win right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, the great thing about HomeBot, you guys, is it syncs with Mortgage Coach. It's so incredible. And then here's the thing. Don't forget about the people that you've helped. Like, you're probably confused. Like, what does the inverted yield curve mean? What the heck is even inflation? What does it mean? Where's it going to go? When's it going to stop? What is a recession? How many times have we gone in a recession? Guys, if us as mortgage people and real estate agents are kind of confused right now, imagine what your clients who just bought a home for 110% or 10 or 20% over list price are feeling like right now. So I'm not forgetting about clients that I've helped over the last year or two as well. And then we said this on Friday, Dave, Every loan that we're closing right now is worth 2. So I'm making sure I'm staying in front of all those people that we've closed from November last year to current more than ever.
I want to correct you, Dan, because I don't think what you said is accurate just now. I think that every loan that you close right now is at least 3 loans. And let me give you my logic on that. Dan just said it's 2, but here's the reality, guys. Like, let's say you close someone right now at 5.5%. You're not going to, let's say sometime between the next 2 years, rates are going to get in the 3s again. You're not going to wait until it's 3.25 to do a loan. You know, you're going to probably refinance that at 4 or the high 3s. And then if you do think, which a lot of the, forecasters of interest rates thinks that they'll get back down to the 3s. So there's at least 2, or, you got the transaction today and you got at least 2 more. So you really got 3, every loan right now, guys. And I had breakfast with someone last Friday, and the way they put it is like, I'm creating this big refi pie, and I'm going to eat this big refi pie sometime in the next 2 years, because every loan I'm doing right now, it's 3 or 4 more loans. So anyways, Dan, just have a little fun with you there. But Todd, anything you want to ask Dan, or any comments from anything he said so far?
Well, I think great. Love it already, right? I think that the whole key, you started off saying that you have to be confident in your conversation. So I can't wait to see your slide deck. But I think, when I hear everyone say, hey, there's 2 or 3 loans coming, that's just a database question, right? It's all a matter of how are you keeping in touch with your clients between now and when that opportunity comes. Really what you don't want to be is a loan officer who says, hey, thanks so much. See you later. I'm going to call you when rates drop. You want to actually continue to add value. So when Dan is out there recording content, Deborah's helping clients create content, that's the whole key. Is you want to be the person that when your clients start hearing that rates are low, on the off chance that they're 10th on your list and you're still calling 1 through 9 to get them ready for their refinance, that their servicer calls and they don't say, oh yeah, I'll just refinance with you. You want them to think you're so great that they've got to be proactive and call you. So be thinking about, as Dan is walking through this, and as Deborah talks about what she does, is how are you going to make sure that you're positioned to have the refi pie that Dave just mentioned? I think that's really a beautiful way of looking at it, but really, and then all you're doing is serving your clients at the level that you've committed to and at what they really deserve in this changing market.
Deborah, any questions you want to ask Dan, or any thing you want to call out for what he said so far?
No, just echoing, taking care of your database and leveraging tools like HomeBot. I think a lot of the loan officers that I've been having conversations with who have, been in that peak volume and just kind of surviving and now getting back and focusing on the purchase business. It's like, don't repeat possibly what you did when refis were through the roof and you neglected some of your purchase business or purchase prospecting. Always take care of your database. That's like that passive income that if you just nurture the database, it's going to continue to give you wealth down the line. So have a strategy in place, make time after this call and make sure you regroup and think, am I even maintaining a database? If so, how are you structuring it? And if you don't, go back and watch that interview we did with Dino, and he talks about how he rates his clients in his database. That was a good one. So Dave, you weren't on that call, I don't think.
I wasn't, but before I hand it back to Dan, I also want to call out another piece of technology that is absolutely essential to executing on this strategy. And I talk about this all the time. If you're in the mortgage and real estate space, you need to do what Amazon and Zillow can't do. And you also need to do what they can do. And so, right now, most mortgage and real estate databases look like this. They're just, you got a phone number. Yeah, hopefully you got an email address. Hopefully you got a mobile number. But guys, this is what Rocket and Zillow's database looks like. Like, they're using intelligence, they're using big data, they're using artificial intelligence to predict who's most likely to want to buy a home, sell a home, move up, or refinance. Like, they know. And guys, this is what your database could look like on Sales Boomerang. So highly recommend everybody gets this added to your tech stack, because the beauty is not only will you get the alert, it will automatically create a total cost analysis. So there's a move up alert where you can set the criteria based off this much equity, this credit, this looks like a move up, and it will create a total cost analysis. So add that to your tech stack, guys. Make sure that the optimal tech stack in this marketplace is Mortgage Coach, no doubt HomeBot, Sales Boomerang, and of course, you got to have a CRM that integrates with all those things. So you really need, here's what you need to do, guys. You need to have a database, a CRM powered by Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang, so that your database is the best place for your realtor's contacts. Like, you want to be able to make the case that, hey, realtor, if your database is in my database, you're going to sell more homes. And then you want to be able to show them how. And with the combination of those three programs, you can do it. So Dan, back to you, brother. Any comments on that before we get into idea number 5?
Yeah, let's pause real quick, because this is a great coaching moment for any loan officer on this call. I don't care if you're a top producer or a wannabe producer. Here's the thing right now. I just met with, this was 2 months ago, the #1 realtor, residential realtor in our whole entire county. Over 120 transactions a year personally, and he's got 1 assistant. That's it. So closing a lot of transactions. I went straight to the DB, the database question. I said, tell me how you take great care of your past clients. You've been selling real estate for 15 years. And he goes, I really don't. So if the #1 realtor in the Seattle market that sells 120 $2 million homes a year does not have a database, there's a really good chance that you're not doing a great job as a loan officer managing your database. And there's a really great chance that most other real estate agents aren't. So I've heard other loan officers on here. I think Jeremy gave a script the other day when he's calling realtors. It says, hey, I'd love to sit down and talk with you. If I could show you a way to close an extra 5 transactions a year, would you take 30 minutes to sit down with me? There's your 5 transactions a year. And if you sit down with them and they're like, yes, I'm a master of my database, flip the table on them. Go, cool, teach me what you do. Because I do really good at it. But if you're a master, hey, now let's have a round table, right? And then you got to go back and figure out another way to help them close another 5 extra transactions, which there are some ways, other ways of doing that. But the database is the key. Most realtors aren't doing it. Most loan officers aren't doing it. So I wanted to pause for a second. This is a huge coaching moment right now. If you don't have your database pulled up on your desktop or print it out, if you're a real estate agent, print it out on your desk every single day, and you're not calling them. So one of the ways that we do this is we call it the letter of the week. So there's 26 weeks in a year. There's how many letters in the alphabet? 52. So that means if you called a letter of the week, you're going to call your database at least twice a year, plus on their birthday, plus on their closing anniversary. That's 4 phone calls a year, plus an annual review. There's 5. There's 5 phone touches or Zoom touches a year when you're supposed to be calling your database. Now you might mail them once a quarter. You might send them an email once a month or once a week. Those are some coaching points right now with real estate agents on how to generate an extra 5 referrals or 5 transactions a year. And I didn't want to let this moment pass, because I think database, if the #1 guy in our county is not managing his database, doesn't have a CRM, has him on an Excel spreadsheet, but doesn't know anything about him, there's a lot more people out there, I'm sure, that are in the same situation.
So before we roll from that, I just shared in chat a link to this blog article. So if you go to the Mortgage Coach page, you click on resources, you go to blog, which, by the way, is another place where one of my goals this year is to put a post weekly on the Mortgage Coach blog that has value to you. So I did a call with Jeremy, and he shared all of his trigger alert scripts. So all the different alert scripts, and then we transcribed them. By the way, there's a button right here if you want to get a demo of Sales Boomerang and you don't have one. But what he says when he gets a credit alert, you know, what he says when he gets an equity alert, you know, what he says when he gets a listing alert, you know, how he's turning these, and by the way, guys, into value for real estate agents. Like in a refi market, you know, this rate watch script is huge. But guys, like the credit score improvement alert, that's a home buyer that just became available to qualify. So make sure all of your pre-approvals and the people that you had to turn down are in your database. So this is like, hey, someone that you had to turn down, their credit score just went up. So guys, we got all these scripts in the Mortgage Coach blog. Script when the alert says they're going with someone else. Anyways, check it out. huge value. And Dan, we're at 20 minutes, so I want to make sure we get into some other ideas. We've got 4 so far. What's number 5? How to win in today's market, or how Dan Keller is winning in today's market?
Yep. So let me just jump right into the conversation. I've got a couple of different slides that I want to share with you guys that I am using right now with our clients. So I think the biggest thing, these are some talking points right now, teaching home buyers how to understand inflation, rising mortgage rates, inventory shortages, a housing bubble, and recession. So what do these mean around buying a home? Guys, this is on every single home buyer's mind right now. Okay, they're reading, and what I put in, I think on Instagram is, don't today, when I kind of advertise this call, don't let the media guide your clients. It's up to us as professionals to guide our clients. That's why I post every Saturday. That's why I do at least 2 videos a week and share those. I want people to get their information from people like me, that I'm getting it from people like you, from Dan Rawich, from Keeping Current Matters, all of these smart people. All right. So these are some talking points. What I want to do before I go into the other 2 slides, it's going to tell you how to deploy these, is let me give you these slides. And this is, I've already talked with Deb about this. Deb can help you with this stuff, or you can just swipe and adapt. But what I wanted to do with this is I want to show you, I think this is so important that you at least teach people. You have a simple conversation around inflation. What is inflation? So I define it right here. What is inflation? What causes inflation? And then what tracks inflation? So, hey, if you do watch the news, pay attention to this consumer price index, this CPI thing, okay? That's what's tracking what consumers are spending, it's measuring what consumers are spending. And then this is something that, for perspective, I think every client needs to understand this, that inflation happens. In fact, I'm gonna show you that it's happened a lot over the last 100 years, but really there's 3 main causes for inflation. Okay, a lot of times you're gonna hear oil attached to it, and the other, you're gonna hear government spending. Now you add in the whole COVID thing and we have supply issues. Those are the 3 main reasons that are causing the situation that we're in right now. So I'm explaining the similarities between the 80s and the 2020s. And then here's a graph that I made. And this is so important. This shows when we saw times of inflation relative to recessions, okay? And then relative to wage growth. Those are 3 things that we need to watch. And so what I turn the tables on our clients and I ask them, how do you feel? Do you feel like your wages are going up or down? Do you feel like employment and jobs up here in the Pacific Northwest is good or bad? And most of the time we get 2 thumbs up. It's great. Good. Okay. So the other things that we can't control is inflation right now. That's global. And then a potentially looming recession. Some say we're in it. Some say we're right in it. Some say we're heading toward it. Nonetheless, it's going to happen. And so we talk about, I share this with them. We spend like literally 10 to 20 seconds on each one of these slides. But when they get this, it's so important. They're like, when we're done with this, they get it, they understand, and they feel more confident. So understand, a lot of them want to point it to Trump. A lot of them want to point it to Biden. And I said, well, here's the funny thing. We've been printing money pretty aggressively since 2000. So the fact that the US has printed money out of control for the past 1.5 years is really concerning, and they got to do something about it. And that's what we're seeing right now. And then this is the one that I absolutely love. There's one way to beat inflation. So you can see from here that the US dollar is down at the bottom. The US dollar is the only thing, it's the thing that gets hurt with inflation. But look at gold, look at bonds, look at stocks, and look at that red line, real estate. All of those go up during times of inflation. And so where should you be, what should you be doing right now with your money? Buying a home is actually a great decision right now. So I turn that back onto real estate, and then I switch it. Now I get to have that conversation that a lot of people want to dodge, but it's the mortgage rate combo right now. So inflation and its impact on mortgage rates. And we get to talk a little about, when inflation happens, look, you can see that mortgage rates are up. Mortgage rates are up. But what happens after inflationary periods? And I get to talk about, oftentimes in history, inflation doesn't last for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Normally it's very short. We're in a pretty big slump right now. So it's probably, this one's gonna be a little bit longer, but what happens after inflation is actually good. And then here I talk about, this is just perspective on a $700,000 loan amount. A 4% interest rate, you're looking at $33.30 a month. If the rates go up to 7, you're looking at $46.29. So almost $1,300 increase in your mortgage for that particular house or for that particular loan amount. But here's the thing, what goes up will come down. If you study these charts like I do, it's going to show you that rates will come down. If I go to this chart and I jump ahead to this one, a lot of the times with our clients, I'll jump into the mortgage rates and recessions. And I get all this stuff from Keeping Current Matters. Really, I didn't recreate any of this stuff. I might have edited them, but this shows you after recessions, look what mortgage rates have done after every recession. So there is hope. Don't sit on the sidelines and lose potential value in your homes or net worth, if you will, by hoping and waiting for rates to come down. I show them this slide after that conversation. Look at this. This is like, what is it? 7 or 8 of the top entities in the US that predict home values for 2022. All of them say they're going to go up anywhere between 6 and 12%. And that's nationally. So you apply that to the Northwest where we have high-tech jobs. It's we've got a good chance of seeing home appreciation through the roof for the next year. So again, you sit on the sidelines, that $1 million home, you lost out potentially on over $100,000 in wealth. The other thing for perspective I'm trying to do is I'm trying to compare March of 2018 to current. And I'm also trying to give my clients with their real estate agents, a lot of time on these Zoom calls, the realtors are on there. So I'm having a conversation with them. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get them to focus on the right data. So I was meeting with a realtor yesterday and I said, what do you think are some really good data points that we need to be focusing on? And he didn't quite, it was through a discussion, we kind of came to the conclusion that as far as the stability of the market, focusing on new listings and pending listings, new listings and pendings. And if you track that and you share that, if that gets out of balance, it's going to tell you if we're in a slowing market, stable market, or an improving market or competitive market. Right now, we're still very competitive. We have a lack of inventory. Days on market is still less than like 5 days right now for a listing up here in Seattle. So explaining all of that when they're hearing rumors and they're getting on, the internet and they're seeing MSNBC saying the housing market's slowing down and expect a pullback in housing. Again, they don't know how to interpret that information. So it's up to us to share information along these lines. I talk about the reason why we have a housing shortage. And I ask them an open-ended question. You guys understand why we have a housing shortage right now? And a lot of them are like, a lot of people moving to Seattle. It's like, no. So yes, that's correct. But here's the big picture. Let's step back for a second. After the last housing crash, builders couldn't build for a while. So builders are behind. So I share this slide with them. Look at each one of these bars represent a 10-year period in history. So from 2010 to 2020, which is the red bar, 5.8 million homes were built in the last 10 years from 10 years from 2010 to 2020. Look at all the previous bars. The last time we were close to that was in the 1940s. So builders are behind. Builders are behind. And then here's the kicker. We have 140 million millennials entering the housing market right now. So we have builders behind. We have a lot of homeowners that have 3.25 30-year fixed rates right now and are not in a hurry to sell. Okay. And we have a bunch of very well-qualified millennials. Look at these well-qualified millennials. Average credit score is 731. Billions of loans with a lower than 620 credit score. It just doesn't exist. We have a fair amount of cash in the market, healthy amount of cash in the market. So we've got a lot of well-qualified people wanting to buy right now. We're nowhere near a housing crash. There may be a little bit of a pullback, but there's no bubble popping anytime soon or crash. So, and I always end with this: is the housing market strong or weak? We look at home affordability. We look at lack of new homes. We look at increase in buyers, better qualified buyers, less foreclosures, and more cash buyers. All of that is an indication of a pretty darn strong housing market. And then I back it with some evidence. This is an article by CNBC, Home Affordability at 2007 bubble levels, but crash is unlikely. Blackstone's Joe Zittel states. And then I cite in the article the 4 reasons why he thinks that we're pretty strong. Homeowners have plenty of equity. There are tight credit lending guidelines, unlike in 2006. We have very, very low inventory and we have positive jobs. So guys, if we talk to our clients about this, stuff like this, and we frame it this way, and we create content around it, this is how you have confident conversations with your clients. This is what allows real estate agents or provokes real estate agents to want to refer you. If you can have a confident conversation with your client, one, it makes the real estate agent look better. Number two, you empower them. And then let's wrap up talking about real estate agents, because I think this is so important. How do you connect with more real estate agents? I think I got this from Stuart Sadler. He's one of the top mortgage professionals in America. He's a coach of mine right now out of Atlanta, Georgia. He teaches this. He taught me this last year, and it's his go-to conversation strategy. How to call a bunch of real estate agents, how to have conversations with real estate agents before you make the phone call. You pick your go-to conversation. So, for example, you go to my YouTube. This is my YouTube. I go right here, the one that's circled, 2-1 buy down versus permanent buy down. I go back here. My go-to conversation for the day is my 2-1 versus permanent buy down strategy versus should I drop the price or ask for a 3% credit. And so I sent an email out to about 400 realtors. I didn't call all 400 of them yet, but my go-to conversation yesterday was really simple. Hey, Deb, this is Dan over at New American Funding. How you doing today? Hey, real quick, I wanted to make sure that you got my email this morning. Super valuable, very relevant. As the market continues to transition, the last thing I want to see are sellers and real estate agents dropping the sales price on listings when they don't necessarily need to do it. The first time in my career, there's a win-win strategy where a buyer can win and the seller can win at the same time. And I want to share it with you. It's in that video. Did you get that email?
Yes, I did.
That's the go-to conversation. Okay.
Great.
So you can't have a go-to conversation if you don't know what you're going to go to in the conversation, right? So you find some information. There's a ton of relevant information. You go to that slide deck that I just shared with you, grab one slide, put it in an email, explain it, how it benefits the realtor, how it benefits the buyer, send it out to the realtor. Okay. I pick a video. Plus I use these thumbnails. I make all of these thumbnails so that when I text the YouTube video to the realtor, it shows up in their text. The thumbnail shows up. It's attractive. It's more likely to get clicked on. It's got the topic. It's got some colors. Okay. So the go-to conversation is so big. You can pick a loan program. You can pick a topic right now in our industry. I used the 2-1. That was my go-to conversation for this week. I'll have another one for next week. Sometimes it's an event. So you can see on this, if you go back here, and I'll share this with the community, this go-to conversation strategy, you talk about a loan program, a sales marketing tip, an industry update. Hey, I saved a loan last week and I wanted to share how we did it. If you have any clients that find themselves in this scenario, I want you to reach out because we can do this. The other thing is you want to invite them to a workshop. You want to invite them to a lunch and learn, invite them to a coffee meeting. That's the whole idea. So you can see with these arrows, the go-to conversation to share a strategy, the next arrow down, invite to a meeting, close them for business. And then you just continue to add value every Monday. Hey, did you get the email that I sent you? Hey, did you get the video that I sent you? And sooner than later, it's going to break. The dam is going to break and you're going to work your way in.
All right, guys, I want to summarize a few things. So Dan has now given us 6, maybe 7. I would like Todd for you to verify this. Started with create lots of content, working harder than ever, calling more agents than ever, using phone burner. Jason asked the question, what's that dialer session? That's phone burner. So he's having more calls. He's using tech, Mortgage Coach, HomeBot, phone burner, YouTube. He's baking a refi pie. So he's very intentional around every loan I close right now is going to be multiple loans in the future. He's got insight slides. I put a link to an interview I did with $100 million producer Keith Collins, and Keith has his slides. He's got all these slides with insight so that he's ready to have whatever conversation comes up. In that interview I did with Keith, it was like, how is he overcoming today's biggest objections? And it was a couple months ago. And big objections. Should I buy now? Our rate's going to go up. Our value is going to go down. those are common objections to the market. So he's got insight slides to do that. Notice that the way Dan did them is that all of them, and Keith, if you're watching this, you notice how he put his logo in all of them. So they're all just like social media content ready to go, easy to share. It's got his brand. And then number 6, he's having go-to conversations. His top go-to conversation for this week is the seller buy down, which I want to unpack in more detail right now. Other great go-to conversations right now are cost of waiting, move up, move down. Also database. Let me pull an extra 5 transactions out of your database. Guys, that's a go-to conversation. You know, for all you sales boomerang folks, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. You just got to tell the story around how you've got this borrower intelligence where you know who's most likely to buy, sell, refi. Give me your database. I'll manage it. Todd, did I miss any or anything you want to add at this point?
No, I think you crushed it. But a quick question for you, Dan. I think where loan officers struggle. So now you've given them this gift of these slides. Just real quick, what's your script to get a client or realtor who you're on the phone with to then jump on Zoom with you real quick?
Yeah. I've got something I really want to show you. And it's really hard to explain over the phone. You've got a couple minutes. I've got a slide deck. So what I told a realtor this the other day, and I'm known for this with my real estate agents up here. When we hit COVID, I parked myself on the couch for 2 days and I created a slide deck around what is COVID, where did it come from, what is it doing, what are banks doing, what it means to us, just to provide clarity. And I know a couple of other lenders did it. I don't want to say the thing went viral, but it got a lot of shares online from other loan officers and from realtors. But what it did for me up here, I got so many thank yous from realtors. Because remember at the time, real estate agents weren't even essential, right? So what I'll say, Todd, is I'll just say, I've got something super important that I think you're going to find a lot of value and you can actually use it, but it's hard to talk about it over the phone. You got 2 minutes, jump on Zoom. You don't even have to turn your camera on, but I just want to share this with you.
Love it, right? So that's just a simple script you can all use. So you're going to be empowered with the slides and now you just have to pick up the phone and then use that script and then add value to your clients and realtors.
Yeah, boom. And I want to show you guys
one more hack. Dave, hold on real quick. One more hack, Todd. The one of the things I learned during COVID, anytime you do a mortgage planning meeting with a client and you're using the mortgage, you know, obviously the upfront where you're not talking about credit and everything, loop in the realtor. I always just text them, say, hey, here's the Zoom link, jump on just for a quick second to say hello. But hey, I'm doing a mortgage planning call, or if I know in advance, I'll send it to them as well. And I always text them and encourage them to jump on. That's a huge hack. When the realtor shows up, they feel like they've got their team there. Everyone's there to support them and they don't stay the whole time. In fact, they'll even say that, hey, I'm just jumping on to say hi. You're really good hands with Dan. I love watching Dan do this because you're going to find so much valuable information here. But that's a huge hack and it helps build your rapport. It helps build that community of, hey, this is my team and we're going to win this thing together.
Cool.
Love it.
So, couple great scripts from Dan. I do want to show something real quick. So I shared this post. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. I'm going to pin it to the top of our Facebook group, guys, just for a day or two. But Walt Schultz had posted on Facebook a great strategy. He said, attention realtors and anyone purchasing a home. And then he just killed it. He walked through, some insight, some value. This has been liked over 110 times in our community with over 26 comments. So it's definitely the most engaged post in the Mortgage Coach group this week. And then even put links to the actual total cost analysis. So just a great, another person, another resource. And I do believe Walt is one of your clients, isn't he, Deb?
He is. And I'll tell you, we've been using a lot of Dan's content, and I put some links in the chat of ways that we've taken his content and created our own stories or our own graphics. And the cool thing is we get to see the back end, the analytics, and the number of comments and shares and saves from real estate agents and, saying great post, this makes so much sense, or genius idea. And so what I want you all to know is, as Dan started this call talking about really how to control the narrative and that whole narrative gap of what stories your agents or your clients could be creating with inflation and interest rates in the market, this is a way that you control it through truth and data and not just the emotions and feelings where people just kind of freak out. And so it's been really cool as we've been making this content. And guys, I'm telling you, I study Dan's content. I've subscribed to everything. I'm in his private Facebook group, and with his permission, I'm putting him as the source of the content that he does create. And the feedback we get is, I mean, it makes the loan officer look like the rock star, which is what obviously we love to do. And you're positioning yourself as the mortgage genius, providing, new strategies for people that they hadn't even thought of.
Yeah. And I want to put a wrapper around what she just said. And Dan said earlier, don't let the media guide your clients. You need to be the guide, the local guide who helps families build wealth with real estate and helps realtors become millionaires because you help them manage their database. You help them sell more homes. And yeah, you're a loan officer. You close loan on time. You have competitive rates. But if you want to crush it in this decade, you need to go beyond being a loan officer. You need to be a mortgage coach. You need to be an advisor that can help agents. If you can't help your agents close an extra 5 transactions a year, guys, you're a loan officer. And mortgage advisors, mortgage coaches make a lot more money than loan officers because they're delivering this kind of value. So Dan, we got
Dave, real quick. I just want to throw in there because someone had asked in the chat, where can they get the slide deck that Dan is using? And I don't know if Dan's granting this permission or not. So I'll let you, decide this, Dan. In his private Facebook group, he had said, if you guys wanted a copy of the slides, to let him know. We have recreated his slide deck in Canva that we are willing to rebrand with Dan's permission in your own, with your logo, your color scheme. And we're willing to do this for free only if you will take it to market and help us control the narrative on a bigger scale, that you're communicating this message, you're creating the videos, you're getting it out to agents, you're using it for clients, and that you stand by, the educational piece. So if you guys need help with getting this slide deck, instead of wasting your time trying to create it yourself, we have Sydney Savage, Dave's daughter, who is already creating these right now as we speak for people who will be more than happy to do this for you if you take the action. So make sure you're also following Dan on YouTube, get into his private Facebook group, study what he says so you also know how to frame the messaging and you can come from, that place of value.
Dan, do you let other loan officers in your Facebook group?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I created minor league mortgage coaching for the main reason I get a lot of direct messages and a lot of emails from people going, hey, how do you do this? Or, what was that form you talked about on Mortgage Coach? So every week at 10 a.m., every Friday at 10 a.m., I do a video. I either go Facebook Live or I'll upload something or share something from you guys. But yeah, I do something every Friday at 10 a.m. in that group. I think there's like 300 loan officers. But it's a gift, kind of like what you've done with the Mortgage Coach community. The files section is gold. Anytime someone asks for, hey, what's your lead tracker? What's this? I upload it into the files section. Same thing with this presentation. It's in there as a post as well.
Sweet. So guys, check it out. Gift from Dan Keller. So Dan, before we run out of time, we got 15 minutes left. Walk us through a seller buy down, show us the TCA. Please, if you could share a link to it in chat, because I want to make sure people have an example of this and teach, give the Mortgage Coach community a 10-minute micro lesson on how to have this go-to conversation this week.
I love it. All right. So remember, the first thing, I want you to take away the strategy. So it's one thing, you got to learn how to make a seller buy down, which you can. The Mortgage Coach community will teach you. Mortgage Coach will teach you how to actually put this together. Okay. It's not that difficult. You got to watch a couple of how-tos and you're good to go. Practice on one. You're good. You got to understand the strategy. The strategy is that I am going to create content, get it on YouTube or somewhere, create content so that I can have a go-to conversation to prospect or make sales calls to realtors. Now, here's part of that content. So the seller buy down, you can talk about it all day long, but you got to show them. And that's the great thing about Mortgage Coach. So I did have to doctor up Mortgage Coach just a little to get the 2-1 column added. All right. The reason why I did this is I had a couple of conversations with builders and a realtor saying, hey, is this true? This mortgage company was advertising like a 3.6 or 3.8 30-year fixed. I'm like, no, that's not, I don't know. Let me look into it. Well, it was a 3-2-1 buy down. So this was like 3 weeks ago. So you guys, we have to pay attention to what our competitors, what the big builders and their lenders that they own are doing, right? Or what the internet lenders or your competition's doing. Well, I noticed that. And then about 2 days later, I had a builder call me and say, hey, what do you know about 2-1 buy downs? I'm seeing a couple of big builders advertising lower rates with a buy down. And I said, I know a lot about them. And I said, I've got some information I think you're going to like. Now, I made a video like this about 2 years ago, 3 years ago in 2018. It's outdated. So I literally took 5 minutes, put together probably a little bit more than 5 minutes. Let's just say 15 minutes, put together a mortgage coach, went in the studio right here, and I filmed a video. What is a 2-1 buy down? What is a permanent interest rate buy down? Which one's better? Or what are the differences between the two? And in my professional opinion, which one would I choose? And then, hey, I believe Mr. Builder, Mr. Realtor, Mr. Mrs. Realtor, that there's a better solution than necessarily dropping the price, which most real estate agents and builders, when the market gets tough, they drop the price or they take a low ball offer. So I show the win-win, the buyer, the seller win-win, which is column number 5, which is highlighted in red. I made that video. I sent this to 2 builders and both of them were shocked. Like, they get this stuff, but they don't understand what it means. They're like, holy crud. You'd have to drop the purchase price by, what was it? From 900 to 845 to realize the same difference. And then Scott and I were talking about this, I think on Friday, Dave, where I think it's so important as mortgage professionals that you understand the product that you're selling. You understand your job. Please don't go out there and promote and pitch seller buy downs right now if you don't know for a fact that it's the right strategy for your clients. If we know that interest rates are going to come down, potentially come down, and you're charging your client 3 points, I see internet lenders doing this all the time, you're charging your client 3 points, that may not be the best strategy. So now we don't know when rates are going to come down. This is a strategy. So when we put together this information, it's a strategy for a particular person in a scenario. But being able to give options and say, hey, these are the options, but I would prefer to go or advise you around this option, knowing that maybe in the next 6 to 12 months, interest rates could drop down. And then you can do kind of a break-even analysis. You can have a deeper conversation about mortgage rates and locking your rate versus, hey, I see that the US banks interest rates are blank and yours are this. Can you match them? Now you're having a very strategic conversation. So the idea around the seller buy down is giving your home buyers and realtors options. So the 2-1 buy down I share in column 2. So column number 1, $900,000 purchase, 5.5.
Do you have the actual total cost analysis?
Yep.
The actual link?
I do.
Could you put that in chat and also put that in your screen? And again, guys, I'm a big fan of slides. Like, I'm Mr. Mortgage Coach, and I have slides that I use all the time. In fact, I'm going to share how I do it. And by the way, I would recommend you guys do the same thing. So here's an actual slide, and I made a little video with no sound so that I can actually click a button, and I would put this in all my insights, and I can walk through a strategy all within the conversation. And then I actually put the hyperlink. So if I wanted to actually pull up the actual TCA, guys, I just clicked right here on the word experience. So that's a little hyperlink. I click on that word, and now it opens it up. So it's the actual live presentation of Mortgage Coach, guys. Super badass. By the way, Keller Williams Mortgage is now using Mortgage Coach. Just another good reason, guys, that you should. Oh, actually, I thought I was sharing my screen the whole time. Sorry about that. God, I was being all clever. Notice that this is a video. So when I go to this, it actually is a silent video that I can carry over. And then I made this a hyperlink. So when I click on the word experience, it actually pulls up a link on a website, and boom, I'm in an actual total cost analysis. And as I said, Keller Mortgage is now outfitting their loan officers with Mortgage Coach. Another good reason every loan officer in America should be using Mortgage Coach, because not only is it a competitive advantage, but you don't want to have some other loan officer beat you with a total cost analysis. So cool. So Dan, go ahead and show your screen and walk us through that. Let's try to wrap up this micro lesson within 5 minutes.
Yep. So this is the actual mortgage coach. So column number 1 is just a regular $900,000 purchase with today's going 30-year fixed. Column number 2 is the 2-1 buy down, which you actually have to refer to the chart to see a breakdown on that. Column 3 is the permanent interest rate buy down. And then column number 4 is showing that in order to get the same monthly payment as a 2-1 buy down or a permanent buy down, you'd have to drop the purchase price from $900 to $845. And so the biggest thing with this presentation for me is it allows me to be a teacher, a professor, to teach the lesson and then ask the client, hey, what are your thoughts? What did you learn from this? Which option did you like better? So I've heard you guys interview countless loan officers. You got to learn to ask great questions. So I think a great teacher knows how to teach. They go and they learn from Renee Rodriguez at Amplify. So they know how to have conversations. They know how to educate and teach. But I believe they know how to, once they've taught their lesson, they know how to get feedback. They know how to connect with the students, inspire the students to make the right decision. I think that's one of the biggest things, not getting on a tangent by any means, but one of the biggest things missing in our school system nowadays is that inspiration. We can do this as loan officers, as financial professionals. So using this information to have a great conversation that is options based. And what most likely is going to happen, what happens with me is, what do you think, Dan? I think we're looking at this, but what are your thoughts? And now we get to be the professional and guide them down that path.
So here's the homework assignment for every branch manager, every loan officer: be able to master the seller buy down options TCA. Not only is it the right solution for a lot of buyers, because there's a lot of sellers. Like if this was a person that had that $900,000 home and they were thinking about doing a price reduction, maybe before they did the price reduction, they would add something like, hey, we'll pay $30,000 in points to buy down the rate. Maybe that would create another level of interest in that home where they were thinking about doing it, and they would get some extra buyers, as a result of that. So there's a lot of tools. Master this. Let's spend the next 2 weeks creating content, mastering this. Remember, every day we do live training here at Mortgage Coach, but the Wednesday at 11 and the Thursday at 9 is technology training. Like if you don't know how to do a seller buy down, come to one or both of those trainings and we'll make that part of the curriculum. So go to our website. Just a quick reminder to anyone that doesn't know how to get access to training at Mortgage Coach. Hang on, let's show it real quick. And then Todd, be ready to wrap things up.
Dave, I just want to add on to your homework while you find that link. I want y'all to also think of the problems that you solve with the seller buy down. So I posted in the chat one of our stories that we just created because we didn't have a loan officer's face to tell the story when I ripped off and duplicated Dan's seller buy down, or maybe it was Scott Nicholson's. So we just created this story of when this would come into use. And I believe the storyline we used was someone who was, pre-approved a couple months ago. They were looking at a certain price point. Now, because of interest rates, they couldn't qualify because of debt to income. So my point to all that is just think of all the different possible scenarios that this seller buy down could help either a buyer or a seller. And for social, make that your hook, make that your storyline. So you're being the solutionist with the strategy.
The solutionist with the strategy. I like that, Deb. So yeah, just go to the Mortgage Coach website. You'll notice we have a resource. You can get on-demand training here, and then you can get live training here. And let's say you want to learn from this, you'd go to our Wednesday training. The next one is tomorrow, the 18th. You'd click on the 18th and you'd sign up for it. Super simple, super easy. And let's say you wanted to sign up for Thursday training. Go to Thursday, go to the 19th, click on it, sign up for it, guys. So Todd, we're getting, got 5 minutes left. Any questions you have for Dan? Any comments? Any closing thoughts for you?
All right. Well, Dan's flashing in and out, so let me make some comments until he comes back. Then I can ask a question. I think, Dan started off saying that you need to have confident conversations, and I love the fact that where Dan's heart is, he's sharing his slides. He spent a ton of time of his own time. He doesn't have a marketing person. He said that made those for him. And with Deborah and her team over at Plug and Play SM, they will go ahead and help you brand those slides for you. So first off, Dan, that is awesome. What a great gift for the community, because you need the confidence to go out there. The other thing that Dan said, which I think might surprise some of you, he said he's working harder than he's worked in years. And you know what? I'm guessing Dan worked pretty hard during 2020 and 2021 when refis were falling out of the sky and he was helping clients. He worked really hard. And I think that it's always difficult. Nobody wants to go out there and say, I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to really grind. But when you have times like this is where market share is gained. This is where loan officers like Dan are going out there. And the reason he said he called 47 people yesterday is because he knows that the rest of his market is not. And if you're in his market, I feel bad, because ultimately you're going to see that the best are actually going to dig in. They're going to double down and they're going to go after market share, and they're going to go after it because they can have confident conversations. So I think it was a huge gift that Dan gave this to all of you. And I would just encourage you to actually schedule the time and take action. Because if you just watch this, that's great entertainment. You learn something, no doubt about it, but it doesn't really do you any good unless you actually take it out and deploy it, as Deborah just said. And so the fact that we got the easy button here in the group, I think is really perfect. And I think the last thing I'll do is I'll give a quick Modern Mortgage Summit plug. If you haven't watched last Tuesday's video where we interviewed Adam Nelson, my right hand at Win by Noon, you really got to jump in on that. That's really how to take it for spending $100 on one ticket for yourself, of how you can create an event for your agents. Dan, in fact, last year you were the one who rented a movie theater and you had a couple hundred people there. And so there's just we went through low budget up to high budget ways to really take the Modern Mortgage Summit or Modern Real Estate Summit and use it as a reason to call, right? Dan talked about the fact that you have to have something to say. He showed that really cool slide. I took a picture of it where, you've got the conversation, and there's no doubt that the easy conversation to have over the next couple of weeks is, hey, come by my office. In my conference room, I'm going to have a title company providing some lunch, and we're going to watch the Modern Real Estate Summit together and see what we can learn.
So guys, you're seeing it on my screen right now. First half of the day is going to be a bunch of amazing mortgage professionals who are all modern. They're all using their CRM. They're all using tech, and they're all doing over 100 million. And, Sean Benosian's doing over $1 billion. Dan's $200 million producer. Big producers. We also have some amazing real estate agents. So after lunch, we're going to bring some America's best. This is Jason Mitchell, #1 realtor in America. And guys, it's going to be a great day. Renee Rodriguez is going to be there. Myself and Todd will be co-hosting this. We're going to have more Deborah Bird than ever this year. And guys, it's super simple. You can either just get one ticket for $100. You can get, 100. You get the live pass, so you have it for a year round for 150. You could get the top producer pass, 25 tickets for 1,000, or Dan Keller and a lot of other big players in the mortgage space. They're getting 100 tickets and, for $2,500. So you can go there, sign up today. This is a must attend event for the mortgage coach community. Dan Keller, any closing thoughts for everyone as we go into wrap up?
Yeah, two things. Right now, Todd made a comment that I'm working harder than ever. It's a different type of work. I think this is a great analogy. During the refi boom, we were general managers. We were the GM. Right now, we need to be the quarterbacks. I learned this from my coach this last week. We've got to be the quarterback. This is legacy time. If we can go out and we can be a lighthouse, you can write your next contract extension, if you will, whatever it might be, however you tie that to being the quarterback. But it's a different type of work right now. We're grinding. You got to spend more time in the weight room, more time studying film, more time creating plays. And that's the kind of work that I'm putting in right now. Lastly, I would encourage all of you guys, just go to my YouTube. How you can thank me for today is just subscribe. YouTube loves it when people have a little bit more subscribers, but you can copy any content that I do, reproduce it, hire Deb to edit it for you. But that's my gift to you. But go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Instagram where I share a lot of wealth, like money and wealth tips. I'm really big into personal finance. That's at My Mortgage Guy Dan on Instagram. But thanks for having me, you guys. This was fun.
Yeah, no, you're awesome. Deborah, any closing thoughts from you?
Just outwork your talent right now. Talents can only get you so far, and there's someone else out there that's going to be working harder and longer. And so just just keep at it and just get on base, right, Dan? Doesn't have to be a grand slam or a home run. You just got to get on base.
Get on base. And I'm going to close with the mantra of both Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang: no borrower left behind, guys. The biggest line item and expense for most loan officers and most lenders are the loans you lose. Either you lost it because of conversion. You lost it because you don't have a borrower intelligence platform like Sales Boomerang telling you who's ready to do a loan. You lose it because you don't know underwriting guidelines well enough. And it was a fundable deal. And I never knew how big it was until I became part of Sales Boomerang. And we have a lost loan report. Like, part of our sales process for big lenders is like, hey, give us your database of 100,000 records. And then we give them back. Here's all the loans you lost, and here's the lender you did it with. And it's shocking how many loans every loan officer in America is losing, every lender in America is losing. Guys, no borrower left behind. Let's go out there, make America great by helping families build wealth with real estate. And one last reminder, guys, go out to high schools and do financial literacy training. Like, the mortgage industry can help make it so that every high school is getting some financial literacy training, not just the high schools in Florida. Let's get out there and make a difference, mortgage industry. Dan Keller, you're the man, bro. Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Give this a like, share it with your mortgage friends. Let's go.
Let's get rolling, people.
Take care, y'all.